We have to continually fight for this. This isn't a one-day thing. It's not a trend.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler James Vivas, and I'm a board member of the Chxrch.
My name is Yasmin Andy Sajid, and I am the executive director at the Chxrch.
We want to thank you for joining us today on our most important live stream. We as the Chxrch team find it necessary to stand in solidarity with the activists protesting for Black Lives Matter.
We not only want to showcase the art of the Black individuals that are underrepresented in our community, but we also want to take the time to educate our audience on the socioeconomic climate in our country today. We are using this stream to raise funds for the NAACP, Legal Defense and Education Fund. The links for the PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App will be in the description of this stream. Please do take the time and kindness to donate to the very important cause.
The next song that we're doing is a song that I actually wrote yesterday. I thought it was just kind of appropriate because I feel like it kind of touches on how like police brutality is kind of downplayed. And how people think like they have to walk around feeling like I'm in this situation because I have the wrong face. So, yeah.
And the song is called Wrong Face.
Yeah, the song is called Wrong Face. Yeah. Slow your pace. Feel that warm embrace. Just look down. Don't dare frown. Do you feel the heat? Feel it graze your feet. Look away. It's not safe. I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. I got the wrong face. It's not all fine. I got the wrong face. Don't go down that line. I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. I got the wrong face. It's not all fine. I got the wrong face. I got the wrong face. Stop and run. You'll have so much fun. If you fall, start to crawl. Then break your chains. Just ignore that pain. Find the man. Bite the hand. I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. I got the wrong face. It's not all fine. I got the wrong face. Don't go down that line. I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. I got the wrong face. It's not all fine. I got the wrong face. I got the wrong face. Wrong face. I got the wrong face. Wrong face. Wrong face. Wrong face. Oh, I got the wrong face. Got the wrong face.
What are the major motivators that contribute to your fight for equality and or justice?
It's just, for me at least, it's just knowing that I'm not the only person that feels the way that I do. And like we all, as like people of color, we all go through these types of experiences. Like you can, if there's like two Black guys talking in the room, you know, you guys can like give each other that look and it's like, oh, like we know what's going on here. You know, like everyone has that type of connection with people that look like them, that we've all been through these same experiences. We've all been through similar pain because of, you know, whatever situation that you're in. So it's just that knowing that you're not alone, I guess you could say, is like the number one thing that that motivates me to, you know, work for equality, I guess.
For me, I'd say I grew up in an environment where I saw a lot of racism. My mom, she's half Black, and growing up in a majority white area in an environment, you see it coming at her within your own family and within your own friend group and within, you know, just the people around you. So it's a little disheartening to see that happening to someone that you love. And, you know, it's disheartening to see that happening to your friends, you know, just to people you don't even know. So I think it's really important to kind of break down that ignorance and really just ensure people see, like, yeah, like, I do have it good, and these people are really having to worry about their own lives.
Our next performer is a music and video producer. His name is Cris Jon. Really quick, would love to give a trigger warning for the video that we're about to watch.
I'm actually featured on this song, this video. My friend Eilish, she's the one who actually had the idea for the song and everything. She just wanted to put something out there. Of course, you know, in these times, with everything going on, she just wanted to use her voice. Wrote the song, like, we did this like quick, you know, wrote the song and probably like 2 days later shot the video, and you know, here we are.
You know, I just perform, but that's how it is. The reason being is because if I can't live free, if I can't live with the same respect as the next man, I don't want to be here. Because God has cursed me to see what life should be like.
What do you want? I can't breathe.
It's another sacrifice. We all know that this ain't right, and the world's got to pay the price. So when will we make this shit right? It's another sacrifice, and we all know that this ain't right, and the world's got to pay the price. So when will we make this shit right? It's the character within, of the color of your skin. Tell me why is that a sin? 'Cause I really wanna know why. Really wanna know why. I really want us to be better for humanity. Look within yourself, you'll see you crave the same color. Why can't we love one another? Here we stand, worlds apart, hand in hand, playing part. Understand what's in your heart. Only way to be free. Don't you wanna be free? Won't go down without a fight. Stand together, let's unite. Understand what's in your heart. Only way to be free, baby. Don't you wanna be free? It's another sacrifice, and we all know that this ain't right, and the world's got to pay the price. So when will we make this shit right?
Traffic stop, racist cop, glue gang, neon neck, choke hold, shots rang. Daughters crying, tears drop, my blood splatter. Call for help, men film, just cowards. Another black life, left dead in the streets. Another black life, left to hang from a tree. Is it me or has this been our pandemic? The problem's been systemic. They don't have knowledge of Kimmy. They take everything and flip it. I mean us to be specific. They kill us to be specific. Atlantic to the Pacific. Yeah, monetize off of black lives for centuries. But when we mention reparations, you ain't hearing me. 4 blacks, 4 trees, 3 weeks. All lynch, suicides, you shitting me. Good thing, people are awakening. Hand in hand, we can change things. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, say the names. All people, one cause, same team. We fight for you. Gang, gang, we all one love. Gang, gang.
It's another sacrifice, and we all know that this ain't right, and the world's got to pay the price. So when will we make this shit right? It's another sacrifice, and we all know that this ain't right, and the world's got to pay the price. So when will we make this shit right?
how do you go about, I guess, educating those that don't truly understand what this movement is about?
You have to want to be educated first, right? You have to be willing to listen. So a lot of it, I think, starts with the way we're taught to begin with. We need to learn about ourselves. We need to learn to be happy and to love ourselves in order to show love and be empathetic to others. So I think that starts way back in the home, right? If you can't get them back into to that space, then there has to be some sort of common ground where people can have a true conversation to learn from each other. Because I've been around circles where there have been, racist people, but a conversation, them just being willing to listen, at least have some sort of conversation, leads to some understanding. And it's like, it's kind of hard to be racist against someone that you can have some common ground with, So, I think some platforms need to be set up. The platform needs to be somewhere where leaders are shown doing it, so that way the people that are following them can take, follow their lead. Because I think so much happens on the world stage is sparked by our leaders. So like if our president says something, the country rolls with it, right?
Yeah.
Those same guys have to be the lead to that. I mean, I'm a little nervous. I'm sorry.
So
This is
one.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm a digital and traditional artist. So these two pieces are digital. This one was a sketch that just kind of dawned upon me. I was doing a couple of practice sketches, and all of a sudden it just kind of showed up in my head. Like, these ideas, they don't just they pop up randomly, actually. So this one, I kind of just played around with it. I just wanted to show how I felt currently. So I live in a little town called Owego, and basically, I don't know how to describe it, but there's a lot of racism that happens here, but it's not talked about very often. So ever since like middle school through high school, I have been a victim of racist comments, or just like I would get these comments like, oh, well, you're the whitest black person I've ever seen, or, oh, well, they'll pull like black jokes on me just because I'm in the vicinity, so they think it's okay to say stuff like that. One of the biggest ones that I've had was I was in a store with my friends, and we were just looking around, and my friend had leaned down and was like, hey, the owner's been following us around for like 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, really? So I told my friends to go to the other side of the store because I wanted to do a little experiment to see who she was really following. And sure enough, she followed me around the store, and she didn't really try to hide it. Like, she made it quite obvious that she was following me. And like a lot of these situations that I've been in, they were very uncomfortable, obviously, because I didn't know how to react at the time, because in high school, I was pretty quiet. Like, I didn't really voice my opinion all that much. I was actually quite scared too, because I felt like there wasn't really enough support for me to make an argument. So it took me until my first year in college to actually like realize, hey, I'm going to voice my opinion, and I don't really care what you guys think, because it's my opinion and it's how I feel. But yeah.
Our next performer is a poet and an activist. Please welcome Ro Gordon. You will be performing a poem for us.
Yes, indeed.
Go ahead and take it away.
Okay, so quick content notice for the poem. Like, there will be references to warfare, genocide, and violence against people of color, as well as trans women and marginalized religious groups. And there'll be references to sex and anatomy, and I'm going to reclaim in my usage of the Q slur and the N-word. So the title of this poem is called Fuck Fake Woke Reactionaries. Imagine being so fake woke that you pretend to be fighting misogyny by misgendering me. Yet I ain't seeing you showing out when Black trans women's bodies be lying in these streets. But oh, you don't want them in your sheets, as if anyone owes your bigoted ass their identity. You say, fuck the police, till a queer body is made to bleed. Imagine being so fake woke that you make memes about respecting Black women, but resort to misogynoid slurs when it pisses you off. Fuck your white feminism, fuck your patriarchal Black liberation, fuck your racist homo nationalism. If you ain't here for all Black lives, you might as well go back to sleep. If people beat white supremacists like they beat their meat, maybe there would already be world peace. Miss me with that, listen to both sides shit. I ain't about to debate one bit. Find yourself a neoliberal to entertain that recycled dribble. I'm gonna save my energy to punch neo-Nazis. I'm gonna be here for my Romani and Jewish peeps. I ain't about to be a fucking reactionary. Y'all say impeach, whoever going out on these streets. I say no justice, no peace. We finna remind them why they used to come out in bed sheets. Y'all worry about some fucking treats while people are bombed in the Middle East, which is North Africa and West Asia, when geography ain't white as US presidency. Let's not erase East Africa and Southeast Asia from the history of US greed. Y'all fight over oil as if you can eat turmoil. It ain't about freedom, else we wouldn't call them heathens. Muslim, Buddhist, Sikh, Jain, Taoist, and more, everyone who ain't Christian, homogenized galore. Niggas complain about the world history class was too Muslim, as if already they weren't trying to make the world less Muslim. Eugenics isn't only a scientist in a lab. Military genocide is a faster way to die. They lie when they say bombing is worth a try. Y'all say freedom ain't cheap. Well, the military is a corporation who capitalizes on breaking treaties with shaded nations. Fuck these imperialist policies. Fuck this imperialist machine. The military is an occupation. No wonder their presence stays in POC nations. Oh yeah, that's why they call them stations. Thank y'all. That's my poem. Fuck fake woke reactionaries.
Powerful.
Amen to that. What can you tell me about your experiences as a queer Black individual in comparison to a cis Black individual? How do they compare?
Yes, yeah, I say definitely like being a queer Black person, like it's like very intensified in my experiences of like anti-Blackness, anti-trans sentiment, anti-gay sentiment, like as the theory coined by Kimberly Crenshaw of intersectionality, like I experience all these identities at the same time, and that shapes my unique experiences. So like I'm gonna be called N-word, I'm gonna call the F slurs, like all slurs. I've experienced violence against police, against white classmates, all sorts of oppression that I experienced, but also not only in the negative sense, but also in the positive sense. Like I have so much culture, like queer Black culture is so thriving, like and also like our history, like, you know, from the Stonewall Rebellion with Martin Luther King Johnson, and also the Compton Cafeteria Uprising, like our history is rich.
If you could say anything to a queer Black individual, younger than you, older than you, anybody, what would it be?
I'd say like actually a quote that I use a lot. It's from a play based on Little Woman, and there's a quote, it's like, you are better than your circumstances. And that's something I always keep in mind and tell other people, like, you are better than your circumstances. Like, even all this oppression we experience, all this trauma, like that, yes, like helps form that identity, but that's not only who we are. Like we are, and we're in the process of experience liberation, and we're gonna get there. And things may not be okay today or tomorrow, and things will probably never be easy, but they're eventually gonna be okay.
A lot of times the Black Lives Matter movement sort of center focuses on like heteronormative like Black men. And I wrote this poem because I had went to a poetry event, and a lot of the poems that were talking about the Black plight and fight in this movement were sort of centered around that and didn't really speak of for the other voices that were there. And so I felt a lot of frustration just as myself as a Black woman, just in that experience. And also I didn't necessarily state this, but it's sort of, I'm implying that it also speaks to the other Black voices, like Black disabled people, Black trans people, Black LGBTQ people as well, like all of that together. Like those voices can't get lost over the side of like Black men. So the first poem I have here is called Searching Through Hotep Poetry. Do you realize you keep forgetting me in your speeches? I've never made an imprint on your paper too easily deleted and retitled under your name, as if my body is too wide for your syllables. Maybe I don't fold into the crevice of your ego or won't liquidate the tears streaming down your face in aggression. There isn't space under intricate metaphors of Black boys' hard life, the cost of never living up to the patriarchy. No matter how many times we die, we never make the headline. You say that the world will just assume you meant Black women anyway. They'll assume that Black women gets killed anyway. They'll assume, so what's the point of plastering my name in your throat to mention the breaking of my back is just as loud as your bone shape shifting into graves. We are expected to cry for you, to mourn your Black uncompleted life, but I am buried 6 feet beneath you, yet I have no flowers. No one has gathered my people for me. I died with the silence on your lips as you spit another fallacy of how no one understands. I didn't realize. I'm sure you looked past my sister's decaying bodies, shape-shifting into your podium of art epidemic. It's easy to forget when you reach the pinnacle of acceptance all those who tied veins for rope to pull you from the hole we were thrown in. Kick dirt in our pools before you gaze the surface. Do you even acknowledge the voice summoning you, begging you? Let me ask you a question. Does Black girl taste good on your tongue? Or does our honey sour, leaving a thick molasses on closed mouth? Baby, you say no one understands this walk, but my skin is cloaked in the same kerosene with matches disguised as sweat. I got a target on my back, mouth, pussy, rubbing the pistol in my inner thigh, fingering the trigger to see if it'll go off. Metal sword through my uterus, desecrating ancestral fetus, and you have the audacity to utter, we have it easy. Did you just need space to unburden emotional immaturity? Suck and fuck our humanity until you say, this is where I stop. This is where you drop me off. This is enough for me. The cops didn't stop the shots from soaring through Corinne Gaines' body, smacking the ground with unfound intentions. Did they tell her that this was a Black boy burden? Did they handle her like the woman she was supposed to be? Or did her skin receive a tombstone without an engravement? She followed her ride or die instinct masquerading in modern caricature. This isn't a competition or a division of who can feel the most pain, but I am tired of snapping and clapping for men who tell me there wasn't enough ink for inclusion. Tired of being the backbone to your pride. I'm tired of spilling the same blood and never being recognized. I just wanted to express that it's not that I'm trying to like compete or anybody's trying to compete. I mean, everybody is just trying to survive and to just like live. But I just want it to be, there needs to be representation. We all want to be represented.
Nylah and I went to high school together. And in the recent weeks, there's been a lot of conversation about the treatment of people of color in our school by our faculty and staff. And I was wondering if you had any comments that you wanted to share in regards to how to better our school and schools in general with similar situations.
So yeah, I'm comfortable with speaking on that because I feel like even though I've had a lot of experiences there, I feel like I've evolved there. So it's a lot of give and take. But I feel most what faculty can do is stop looking to put stories onto people. So I feel like just sort of taking, because students are sort of like these almost like blank pages. And so they have all these experiences, they have all these circumstances, and instead of trying to sort of shift it into the idea of what you think or what you know it as, is just take them as who they are and then trying to sort of teach them along that. I feel like I guess in particular with our school that I went to, just from my personal experience, because going to, I feel like an art school was a little bit different than a regular public school, but just there was this idea of community where there had to be like this sort of attachment and this idea of like togetherness, when really it suffered a lot because there wasn't accepting the people for where they were and who they were. There was a lot of just trying to shift and make. That's a lot of rambling, but I feel like overall the biggest thing that faculty can do, I just feel in schools, is sensitivity training, which I mean they do have, but I mean like really getting into like the depths of like adding more like psychologists into the school so that there's like this idea that people have an acceptance of who they are, and that when things are going wrong, like when there are problems, because you can't really fix everybody. I mean, people fall through the hoops all the time. there's a real space where it can be rectified and it can be resolved, and whatever needs to happen can happen, instead of letting it fester and that becoming the culture that the school just adopts, where things just happen there and that's just the way it is.
I just also want to say that, you know, you were a couple of years ahead of me in school, but I want to say that I looked up to you so much, and I'm so proud of everything that you've done and do, and you continue to amaze me, and I cyber stalk you on Instagram. I've been doing that for years, and it's amazing. And thank you so much for coming on here. Hello, Winston, welcome.
The piece around it, you know, Black is Beautiful, it was definitely a piece that I feel was done at the right time. It was something that I had always been looking to do. I wanted to definitely create something of an Afrocentric, a love for one skin, especially for a lot of us, you know, African Americans, a lot of Black people, you know, in the United States. The muse for the artwork was actually a friend of my former classmate, Stephanie, if you remember her. And for the last 3 years, I had been thinking about doing some type of like visual artwork that would have a lot of Black men and women where their skin is really more the piece of the artwork. It's the symbol. But I never really had like an idea that would kind of like stretch and be able to become what it is that you see right there. But then as I started to see, you know, the protests going on, things that were happening within the streets, the killings itself already were traumatizing for a lot of folks. For me, it wasn't anything new. It's something that I see every day and something that we constantly still fight for so that we have our individual justice and our own freedom. But I really wanted people to feel comfortable in the skin that they are. I didn't want folks to feel like, you know, that we're a target simply just because of being Black. There's a lot of things that contribute just towards that as well. But I wanted to be able to let folks know that you should be comfortable in the skin that God has given you. You know, we do have darker skin, or we may have, you know, a certain type of background or ethnicity, whatever the case may be, especially for a lot of us African Americans and Black people. But I wanted us to be able to be comfortable in that. She definitely offered herself as a visual example for that. And I wanted to be able to make sure that the piece exemplified exactly the words Black is beautiful, that it overlays on top of what we usually see, I guess, is like a blind eye type of thing. And as soon as the words that are in Black are overlaid on top of her skin, you start to actually see the type of Black that we're speaking of, or that I'm trying to implement into the artwork.
A phrase that I'm very well aware that everybody probably has heard at least once in their life is, "Oh, I don't see color." What is your response or your emotion or just opinion towards that phrase?
I think when people say that, it's really more of they're really much just telling me that they're choosing to be ignorant, being unaware of, you know, the struggle that a lot of folks who are people of color are experiencing. I don't see color as just another horrible way of just trying to turn a blind eye and dismiss any type of things that are happening to us, you know, and the struggle that we go through day to day. It's always been something that has hit me before. I feel like I've gotten to the point where I'm tired of having to explain to folks the difference in, you know, their perception of what they may deem as color and what's actually reality. You know, there is different races out here, and it doesn't even just cut down just Black and white. You know, it's always a different type of race or a different type of ethnicity, different type of background, culture. But for those folks that usually type to say that, it's really, I feel it's demeaning as well too. It makes it, like I said, just basically dismisses the type of struggle that we go through. My response to that is just to always treat ignorance with knowledge. You know, you don't shut down a fool faster than by actually putting wisdom in his ears and in his eyes and in his mouth and being able to make him see what you see. So if all he sees, or if he says, I don't see color or any of that type of thing, I'm definitely going to show him, well, you're going to see a lot more than what you think you don't see, you know. And if it has to be where I have to explain it to you, or I have to show you, or I have to give you an example, I have to, whatever the case may be, I think that, you know, that's the best way to be able to treat these type of people. We have to continually fight for this. This isn't a one-day thing. It's not a trend.
Please exercise your right to vote in these upcoming elections so that we can have representatives leading us that can actually make the change that we need to see in our society.
Exactly.